Everybody knows that the worst punishment a criminal can get is the death penalty, right? This controversial punishment deeply involves moral issues and raises practical concerns about justice, fairness, and human rights. But serial killers don't care much about all that, unless it's their own life that's at stake, and sometimes, with such gruesome cases, the best course of action would be to end a criminal's life.
2005 murder of a 29-year-old Lubbock woman. He raped and beat her before stuffing her body into a suitcase and tossing it in the trash. He also confessed to killing a 16-year-old girl in a similar manner.
He didn't apologize during his last words, and Rodriguez really didn't show much emotion. Before he closed his eyes, he began to sing, "Here I Go."
He wasn't a bit sorry. He didn't care. He's only interested in himself. And he's just a sociopath.
He went on to say, "The state may have my body, but not my soul." His last words were, "I have fought the good fight. I ran the race. I've accomplished what God intended me to do. Warden, I am ready to join my father."
Hey guys, welcome back to Crimeco, your go-to channel for some intriguing and incredible true crime stories. Before I continue with today's case, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. So buckle up and get ready to go on a wild ride with us. In today's case, we'll discuss a very particular case. Rosendo Rodriguez III, who was also known as the Suitcase Killer, was born in Wichita Falls, Texas, on March 26, 1980. Although he was raised in an unstable home where his father abused him and his family, he still tried the best he could under such circumstances and managed to attend Texas Tech University in Lubbock. After that, he also served as a Marine Corps reservist. Family, friends, and many other people who knew him spoke very highly of him. Words like polite, handsome, and funny were often used to describe Rosendo. He was living in San Antonio, Texas, but the killings occurred in Lubbock, where Marines used to train. He took advantage of this fact, which made it possible for him to go to Lubbock and do whatever he wanted there, and then go back home like nothing happened. Of course, no one would have ever imagined the horrors that all his fun times in town left behind. September 13, 2005, was just a regular morning at work for some workers at the city landfill in Lubbock. While going through the piles and piles of garbage, one of the workers found a brand new suitcase. He probably thought that with a little cleaning, it would look as good as new, so he went on to grab it and put it aside. Imagine his face when he opened it and found a woman's naked body all beaten up inside. The police were immediately called, and an investigation began. The body had no personal ID or clothes, but thanks to a tattoo on her ankle and fingerprints, the police were able to identify the body pretty quickly as that of Summer Baldwin, a local drug addict who was known in the streets for prostitution. After the autopsy's results were ready, the police found out that Summer had been severely beaten, had been a victim of extreme SA, and had signs of asphyxiation. She was most likely still alive when the killer put her in the suitcase. But there was one gruesome detail that shocked the investigators. The victim, Summer, was also approximately 10 weeks pregnant. After careful examination of the few clues they had, the police came to the conclusion that the suitcase in which they found Summer was brand new. The interior was very clean, and it still had the plastic tag on the handle. So they looked further, and inside it, they found that small little detail that would lead them to catch Summer's killer. This is where Rosendo's pure common sense comes in. You want to know how he got caught? Well, he thought that by buying a brand new suitcase, he could hide Summer's body and leave no personal trace. But he forgot that all purchased items had something called UPC numbers, which worked just like a personal ID for people. It is common knowledge that these tags are the only way to trace any item. Well, apparently Rosendo wasn't aware of it, so he never took out that small piece of paper from within the suitcase. With the help of that code, the police were able to track him down. So, basically, a bunch of numbers gave him away. Thanks to the UPC code of the suitcase, investigators traced it back to Walmart, where it was bought. Records indicated that a debit card was used to pay for it. Whose card? Rosendo's. The store's CCTV footage caught him buying it too. He got arrested at his parents' house in San Antonio just a few days after the body was found. Rosendo was living a nice life and was a well-mannered, smart, and highly educated man. But even the brightest minds sometimes make mistakes. Once he was arrested, the questioning began. In the interrogation, Rosendo stated that he picked up Summer and took her to his hotel on September 11, 2005, and they had consensual sex that night. After that, she started doing drugs, which upset him, and a fight broke out. Summer tried to wound him with a knife, so he put her in a chokehold, killing her while he was defending himself. He then went and got a suitcase from Walmart and latex gloves, shoved her inside, and just threw it in the trash. He said that he just panicked and didn't know what to do. But all things considered, it seemed like he really thought long and hard about how to properly dispose of a body without being caught. The case seemed closed, but the investigators got a hunch and decided to question Rosendo again. His name had appeared in an investigation 2 years prior about the disappearance of a teenager named Joanna Rogers. She was 16 years old at that moment, and Rosendo's name came up on one of Joanna's chats on a website. So he was offered a plea deal. If Rosendo had anything to do with Joanna's disappearance and could give specific details about what happened and where she was, the prosecution would give him a life sentence instead of the death penalty. Rosendo agreed, and a parallel investigation began to look for the teenager. Rosendo stated that he had met Joanna on May 4th, 2004, and they had sex, but when she demanded money, he just choked her to death. He put her body in a suitcase and then threw it in the trash. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? By now, it's pretty clear that Rosendo had a type of victim in mind and also a modus operandi. Once again, and thanks to the diligent work of the workers of Lubbock's landfill and volunteers, they were able to find Joanna's body and give her family closure. But Rosendo backed out of the plea deal, and his confession was inadmissible in court. The law stated that his statement was not voluntary because it was part of a plea agreement. So in the end, he would only be sentenced for the murder of Summer Baldwin and her unborn baby. Rosendo never gave specific motives for the killings. In Summer's case, he just stated that he killed her to protect himself from her attack, and regarding Joanna, he just killed her because he didn't want to pay her the money she demanded. On May 14, 2008, he was sentenced to death on 2 counts of capital murder. His defense team tried to appeal, but their attempts were denied. On March 27, 2018, the day after his birthday, he finally received a lethal injection after almost 10 years of being on death row. Unrepentant and citing some words from the Bible, his last words were, "The state may have my body, but they never had my soul. I've fought the good fight, I have run the good race, and Warden, I'm ready to join my father." In the United States, there has been an ongoing dilemma about whether or not to use the death penalty for as long as it has been used. Supporters say that it is a fair punishment for awful crimes and that it scares away potential criminals. Opponents say that it is immoral and that factors such as race, socioeconomic status, quality of legal representation, and location can heavily influence who is sentenced to death and could lead to the execution of harmless people. Thanks again for joining us in this story. Before you go, let us know what you think about this incredible case in the comments section. We'll see you again in the next one.